Hello and welcome to Blade Bench. Today we're checking out the pocket sword Espada Large by Cold Steel. Of course, if you guys like these vids, please like and subscribe. If everybody watching could please just subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel here. I'd really appreciate it. And any of you guys that have subscribed and tuning in, I appreciate you. Anyways, let's go and just dive right into this thing. This thing is a pocket sword, as I said. These things they're so cool. This has the 5.5-inch blade on it, and kind of designed after the Spanish Navaja knives, except with like obviously a modern, almost tactically kind of new modern materials and design. Really cool knife. This is definitely in the the freak your coworker category out. When you whip these things out, people notice. It's over a foot long. I think it's, what is it, 12.25 inches long, so just over a foot long. And look how big this thing is. I've got like kind of medium, largish hands, and this thing just dwarfs my hands. It's just a monster, and look how mean that blade is on it. Really cool design knife. Really impressive and super strong. These things have the Cold Steel Triad lock on it, and they've done, if anybody's seen some of the testing videos they've done for these, they're hanging massive amounts of weights off these knives. And now that's most of the testing they do, I know that's on the XL size, and this is the large, but still on the XL they're hanging like, I think it was 600 pounds off the thing, and like an engine block and stuff, not together but separate, but still, that's impressive. These locks are supposed to have really good shock value, so they don't break if you're like whacking the back of the spine. If anybody has done testing like that, and just tried whacking this thing to see if it would fail, if you're brave enough to hold it and test it, let me know in the comments, because I'm curious if anybody's actually done those crazy spine whacks like that. I tend to treat my knives pretty well. I don't just totally beat the crap out of them, although I do EDC them a lot, which kind of gets me to one of the main points that I want to make in this video, is how perfect of an EDC size this thing is. I tend to like bigger knives, like pocket swordy, especially the Cold Steel, but any kind of bigger pocket knives. And this one, so this has the 5.5-inch blade, as I mentioned. For me, that is an absolutely perfect EDC size. The handle, I think the handle is about 6 inches long, 6.25. Yeah, let's measure it on this thing. I don't really use it much. What do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 inches long there. So it's definitely not a small knife by any means, but the 5.5-inch blade for me is the absolute perfect EDC size. It's not too big, not too small. It's just right. And the blade steel that they use in these, I'm actually a pretty big fan of. This one in particular has the Japanese AUS 10A blade steel. I've got a few of their knives that come in that blade steel, and I've had basically no issues with it. It sharpens up well, it holds an edge decently, and it takes an edge nicely. I've only had to just kind of hone this edge. I haven't beat it to the point where I've actually had to like sharpen it, re-put an edge on it or anything like that. But you can see the edge is holding up great on there. Get a little bit of a burr. I could use a little bit of a tune-up on this knife. But these ones come just kind of like the Voyagers do, with that stonewash finish. It's got a really cool finish to it. I quite like these. They're not very fingerprinty, and I've got really like hot hands. You can see how much dang heat's coming off my hand. But you can see even just after touching it, the fingerprints kind of just fade away. So I quite like the stonewash. I think it's got a really nice look to it. And I'll give you guys a bit more of a close-up of it. It's really nice and evenly done, both sides. There we go. And you can see that with that stonewash, I mean, it doesn't show all the scratches and stuff that you do with some of those black finish blades, or like the mirror polish blades that kind of show scratching and stuff. This does a really good job of just hiding all that. So it's still, I mean, I've had this knife for years. I've EDC'd this thing plenty over those years, and look how well that's holding up. This one's got the G10 handles, so, and they're a nice texture. If you can hear that, it's smoothish, but still has a lot of real grip to it. I think the older original ones, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the older models of these had like a really aggressive type of G10 that was really chewing up people's pockets. So when they did, when I guess they redid them in subsequent versions, they've gone to something a little smoother. Still plenty of grip on there if you're wet or got greasy hands or sweaty hands or oily or whatever. Tons of grip, but really smooth. So this knife doesn't eat my pockets up at all. So really nice handle material. You can see because these are the painted steel, the pocket clip. I've never been a huge fan of the cold steel pocket clips. They're fine. They do they do what they're supposed to. They're pretty dang stiff. I think some people think they're too stiff. I think they're fine for me, but that's really the only thing that's showing wear on here. And I'm totally fine with that. I could take that off, sand it, repaint it, do whatever I want to do with it. Doesn't bug me. One of the really neat things about the Espada knives, and I know there's another couple knives that they do, but this was a collaboration with Andrew Demko and Lynn Thompson. And Andrew Demko, he designed this thumb disc. I think it's actually called like the Demko thumb disc. Or thumb plate opener. Sorry, I've got that written down here. It's called a Demko thumb plate opener, and it's cool. So really nice jimping on the side of it, and you can kind of see that here on both sides, and it's really wide, and it's got this kind of ramped thing to it. So it works great as just a regular old thumb opener. So if you've got a lot of purchase, you can see how wide that is underneath. Sorry, see how wide that is underneath there. You got lots of room, whether you're a lefty or a righty, to get your thumb under there and just open it like that, and it works beautifully. You can have the thickest gloves on and you're still gonna very easily be able to get a hold of that with your thumb and open it. But what it's also really designed for is almost like an Emerson wave opener. So when it's down, sitting down in your pocket, it's designed to catch on your pocket, and it's kind of hard to do with your finger, but it catches on there and it'll deploy it as you draw it out of your pocket, so that as you draw it out, that thing just flies open. And these things have a really cool, pretty mean sound when you whip them out of your pocket like that. So that thumb disc is really neat. I love it. I know the Spartan has it. They got a couple knives that have that. So yeah, thumb plate is really neat on these things, and just kind of add to the overall kind of cool factor. It's, in my opinion, having that, the rapid deployment of it is really cool. If it had just like a regular old thumb stud, I just wouldn't think it looked so cool. I just kind of like how the blade shape, comes across, down, up, the big swoop, big belly, really aggressive, really mean looking knife. And these handles, one of the nice things that Cold Steel's I've always liked about most of their knives is they think about the blade, of course, and the blade's got a cool design to it, and for functionality and strength and all that sort of stuff. But they always put a lot of thought into their handles, which I've always kind of admired them for. So you can see that there's multiple ways that you can come and grip this knife, and I know that they tout that as like a self-defense sort of thing. So if you needed to, I mean, you could very easily, almost like a little pistol grip, grab this. So this knife's over a foot long, right? So if you're grabbing it like this and have the, your arm fully extended, you've got almost an extra foot of reach. Should you ever need this for some sort of self-defense thing, I mean, no one's going to want to come close to you when you're waving around one of these giant pocket swords. So really cool that they actually put thought and ergonomics into these handles. I remember when I first started seeing these, I looked at it and I passed this knife up, because honestly, I was like, that handle, something about this handle is just butt ugly to me. But when you buy one, put it in your hand and start to use it, and it makes sense, you're like, oh, that's why that handle's so ugly, because it's actually really functional. So really cool handle, and it's the value that you get when you buy these knives is just there. The blade, the build quality with the triad lock. I like the blade steel on this one. There is versions that have the fancier, like the S35 VN blade steel, nicer handle materials, but for this, the value, it's just, you can't beat it. What a super cool knife. My favorite part about this is just the size of it. It's just such a fun knife. I'll give you guys a couple close-ups before we kind of end here in case anybody wanted to see it. So there's kind of a view of that side. You can reverse the pocket clip should you like. Here's a view of the top, so it's got a full kind of back spacer here. It does have these nested kind of steel liners there. So there's the kind of back view. A little bit of wear there. Didn't really notice that before. The blade, it does have a really nice thick blade. It's 3.7 millimeters, so nice thick blade on there. And it carries that thickness all the way through, almost to the tip here. And then it starts to kind of taper kind of abruptly just for this last bit, but it still keeps that thickness right up at the tip, which is really nice. And then here's a shot of the backside with the pocket clip on there. So you can see a little bit of scratching and stuff on the grip, but nothing major at all. Really cool, really aggressive looking knife. I highly recommend, if anybody likes these kind of bigger size knives and you don't have one of these yet, I really highly recommend getting one of these things, because it's just so cool. I do have the XL Espada, and I was actually at EDCing that yesterday, and they're funny. You pull one of those out and everybody's just laughing at you because you've got this absolutely monstrous pocket sword. I mean, this thing's a pocket sword, but the XL Espada is like the pocket sword. It's ridiculous. But these are, the fun factor is huge on these. Every time you pull this thing out, everybody's smiling, everybody's laughing, and like yeah, your coworkers or anybody around is gonna be wondering what you're doing with such a ridiculous knife in your pocket. But I'm sure, as you knife guys know, that's half the fun, is just having fun with these things and kind of freaking people out and whatever. So yeah, there she is, Cold Steel Espada Large. Very cool, very functional knife, and in my opinion, basically the perfect EDC. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. If you guys stuck around this long, please like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel, and I really appreciate it. I really like all the back and forth, too, in the comments, everybody letting me know their thoughts on things. I find that really enjoyable. So, yeah, there you guys go. Espada Large by Cold Steel. Catch you next time. Thank you.